everyone, and welcome to our webinar on visualization creating actionable information. My name is Geneva Gordon, and I'm a Junior Asset Integrity Engineer for Antea in Canada. In the background, we also have Joel Chapman. He's also a Junior Engineer, and he'll be helping us with some of our demonstrations today. We'll be co-hosting along with Floyd Baker. He's our subject matter expert, as always. Floyd, can you give us a quick introduction?
Thank you, Geneva. Hi, my name is Floyd Baker. Been in the asset integrity management, asset performance, asset reliability business for my entire career of 39 years. Through that time frame, I was working on the service company side of the business, and then collecting all that data, inspection information, and testing data. Then later on to the owner-user side of the business and managing all that information or data. And now I'm on the software platform side of that business that actually processes that data and automates it and turns it into actionable information. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Antea's dashboard and KPIs. We're going to show you how you can dig down through a KPI, through a dashboard, and actually get to the bottom of a situation. Show you complete transparency for anybody in the plant, from the plant manager all the way down to maybe it's a maintenance technician performing maintenance on a pump or on a pressure vessel or instrumentation. We've got some examples here we'd like to run through with you. Geneva, you want to kick us off?
Great, thanks Floyd. We're going to start off with our KPIs, which stands for Key Performance Indicators. When a user first logs onto Antea, they're taken to a KPI dashboard. Here, they can get a quick overview of the whole entire facility.
Not only can you see real-time data through that dashboard, through that those infographics, but you can also take action. You can actually manage that data directly through the dashboard. Bet you're wondering how we're going to do that. Well, I'm glad you asked. Geneva and Joel are going to show us or demonstrate how, and show a couple of different scenarios from two entirely different perspectives: a maintenance manager and an inspection department.
The KPI dashboard gives users an overview of the inspection plans and operation outcomes for assets within the facility. On the left-hand side, there are some useful graphics that provide an overview of the state of the plant as well as the next due dates. The first graph shows the operation results represented by a pie chart. The second graph shows the scheduled and executed activities for each item type. For example, we could take a look at the scheduled visual inspections existing within the plant for the year 2020. We can see that the visual inspections are displayed for each item type and that executed schedules are shown in green, while those that have not yet been completed are shown in blue. This third graph here shows the planning trends by plant location. So we'll still look at our visual inspections, but here we'll focus on the cluster process unit. Say, perhaps that's the unit that I'm in charge of. So I can see here that there's actually 5 open schedules for visual inspections within that process unit. So on the right hand side here, there's some useful tables. So the next due dates tables can indicate currently expired schedule amount of days. So we can use this table to see if any of those open schedules in cluster have actually reached their due date and become expired. By clicking on the expired schedules link, we can now see that there are in fact 2 expired visual inspections, and one of them is in fact for the cluster process unit. Now I'm going to message the person in charge of the inspection and remind them that that asset needs some attention.
I'm the Chief Inspector for Cluster. I log into Antea and see a message from the Cluster Maintenance Planner. Apparently, an inspection has been missed, and now there is a schedule overdue. I see the expired schedule on the KPI page. Clicking the link in the KPI dashboard table, I am brought to the equipment. I open the Schedules tab, and here I can see the expired due date. This one was definitely planned and executed, So I called the third-party inspection company to check what has happened. It turns out they did the inspection but forgot to submit and send over the results for that one equipment. I get the inspection information and record the operation. In the future, I'm going to give this company restricted permission credentials so they can log onto Antea and record the operations themselves. Anyways, I can now close the schedule easily by checking the box. And now I should see in the scheduler that the planner is all updated. Green checkmark.
I think since we let this schedule go expired, I'm going to add another little measure to just ensure that we make sure that that schedule doesn't go expired next time. So I'm going to create a schedule alert for visual inspections in the cluster process unit. I'll make Geneva and myself as the message recipients, and I'll set this notice to occur 7 days prior to expiring. So this way we have a secondary measure in place to really make sure that that schedule doesn't go unnoticed next time.
So this is a great example showing how visualizing the data actually creates transparency. It improves collaboration up, down, and across the entire organization.
Absolutely. It was so easy for me to solve the problem with all of my information in one place, organized and summarized on the KPI dashboard. Then, into the future, we made a plan for the inspectors to record in Antea and even set up a reminder email. Okay, so let's move on to how operations can be planned in advance. Floyd, do you have some examples of how visualization features can be used and what some of the benefits are?
So as a maintenance planner is actually planning the work on an asset to take place, he can actually visualize any of the assets around it and see what inspections or tests or what other kind of maintenance activity is due and plan them all at the same time. So therefore he's leveraging resources like people, scaffolding, cranes, and logistics to manage all of this work at the same time in the same place. Thereby, it's a huge cost savings.
Yeah, it definitely does save a lot of time. In Antea, you can see the status of schedules on nearby or connected items using the PIDs or maps. We'll start with the PID example.
So we're going to stay on our tank example, and I'm going to check the PID here. I'm going to look around the equipment, and I notice here that there's some red hazard symbols next to a couple of analog instruments. These symbols indicate that the schedules on some scheduled operations for these instruments have expired. So I'm going to again message Geneva to get her to take a look at those.
This is just another great example of being able to visualize information and actually take action from that information. Yeah, executing work activities right straight through visual means of analyzing and processing information and turning data into something that makes sense and adds value.
Yeah, Joel was able to really quickly see what needed to be done and could immediately send an inspector out to do it.
An inspection manager or an engineer can easily see where assets or many assets are. They can use this method for staging equipment like cranes, scaffolding, things that need to be geographically placed that are convenient to the work that's taking place. It's also good to manage logistics, things like deliveries to remote sites and that sort of thing. And you can do this all from home or from your desktop at the office.
Oh yeah, visualization is huge for logistics. The 3D model is especially helpful for logistical planning.
Joel, you want to show them how this is done?
I'm in here in the gas dehydration P unit, and I'm going to click on the 3D Experience button, which allows me to simultaneously view the 3D model as well as any other information such as data sheets that I might be interested in. And I'm going to next highlight the 3D model. So what I'll do here is I'll highlight it with a specific color to indicate certain things. So for instance, fluid, schedule, state. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight it by the assets that have upcoming expiring schedules. So I'll select one of these expiring assets, glycol separator here, And now what I'll do is I'll go over to the Schedules tab, and I can now see that there's a visual inspection that is going to expire on July 3rd. And this is the same thing for the adjacent glycol separator. So again, I'm just going to message Geneva, and I'm going to give her just a heads up that those glycol separators are going to be needing visual inspections performed on them very soon.
Oh wow, another message from Joel. He's really on top of things today. Looks like there are some visual inspections to do. I can search for the item that he sent me in the quick search bar. Here, I could also search for components within the items, items in the warehouse, or even search for text within attachments. Here's the equipment, and here is the visual inspection schedule. Since I'm on site, certified to do this inspection, and have some free time, I can grab the tablet and go out and do it. Now that I'm out there, I can record a new operation. I choose what I did, insert the date, select the result, and then I can close the schedule and save. I also would like to add a picture, so I'm going to go to the Documents section and choose to upload a new document. Since I'm on the tablet, I can take a picture in real time. So I'll do that. Let me find something. Here's a very realistic tank here. Take the picture. And upload it to the operation. I can write a short description. And next, maybe I want to add some notes, a quick little summary of what I saw. Then once I'm done, I'll save it, so now Joel can go and check on it.
Now that Geneva has taken care of those outstanding schedules, I can still use the 3D model to quickly visualize operation results directly on the 3D model. So I'll go back to the 3D model of gas dehydration P unit, and I will highlight the 3D model by operation results. We can very easily see on the 3D model that the equipment 310 AVA-100 used to have expiring schedules has now been highlighted green to indicate a recently positive operation has been performed. I can quickly access the operations details while simultaneously viewing the 3D model.
Another good example of how we can optimize our planning and maintenance scheduling activities when you're working on a lot of different equipment in a small area, such as in a turnaround situation, is by highlighting those assets in a 3D model. So that way a planner can actually see where the assets are, how he can stage equipment, and also how he can mitigate safety risks by stacking too many contractors in a small area at the same time.
Yes, this is a great example. Highlighting specific items can be helpful, but we can go even further. The 3D experience view is particularly helpful when combined with the map features. Achieving efficiency while still being safe is crucial. The local map is helpful, but sometimes it doesn't provide enough information. If somebody was new to the site or they didn't understand how to read this map, they would have a hard time understanding. So we also have a satellite map. Using this, the maintenance planner can even see where the roads are, gates, or any obstructions like trees. This is still all bidirectional, meaning that you can click on an item and it will show it in the 3D experience. But you can also go back and freeze the model so that this always stays. So for instance, this vessel at the end here is this one.
Preventative maintenance schedules are key to the reliability and availability of assets in plant. Having the ability to communicate right straight through your scheduling tool is an ideal situation. Being able, one technician be able to communicate to another technician helps them be so much more efficient, and it reduces risk in knowledge itself. Being able to share that knowledge from one technician or an inspector or a maintenance person all the way across. For an inspector or a maintenance technician or whomever, if they're able to plan a job before they actually even report to the job site, plan the execution process through this 3D model or through a digital twin, it actually is a huge cost savings in terms of rework, minimizes rework. The other part of that is risk. You mitigate risk because there's a certain element of safety of being able to visualize a job before you actually go execute it.
Absolutely. There are so many benefits to being able to communicate easily using visualizations. Joel has an example of how a 3D laser scan point cloud can be used to plan an operation safely in a new place.
So it's already been determined that 2 pressure indicators require a calibration operation in this pump house. So what we can do is we can leverage the power of the 3D point cloud to assist us in planning this operation properly. So first thing I'll do is I'll just travel around the point cloud and navigate to the location where those pressure indicators are found. Oh, you can see them right there to the left, so I'll go a little closer and kind of get my view aligned so that we're properly facing the pressure indicators. Next, I will refine my point cloud so I can see the assets better, get a clearer, more crisp image. And now you can see here that everything's nice and clear, nice and crisp. So the inspector likely will need some tools and equipment, supplies to carry out this operation. Therefore, they can't carry too much weight, and they'll probably need to bring a cart in between those 2 pressure indicators. So what I can actually do is use the ruler tool to make a horizontal measurement of the distance between those 2 pressure indicators and get at least an estimate of the space between those 2 pressure indicators and whether or not I'll be able to fit that cart. So it looks like we'll be able to probably get our cart in there, and we can wheel a ladder up and easily set up the ladder so that we can perform that calibration operation. So the point cloud can be really useful, especially when in situations if, say, you have never been to that plant before, you can get a really good idea of the assets surrounding the asset that you need to do an operation on, and all sorts of other useful information. And so here I'm just kind of double checking, making sure that my measurement is horizontal and that it's a good estimate. And yeah, we can carry on from there.
Okay, our last scenario is to demonstrate how Antea can be connected to enterprise or ERP systems. I've made a graphic to try to explain this. But first, disclaimer, this workflow is generally very different for every customer, and the automations depend on the ERP system that's connected.
This interface is key. It eliminates the potential for data silos that are sometimes created from plants that use 2 different platforms to manage the same assets. Communication between them eliminates data silos. It also improves workflow. You know, when you have work requests, work orders, even job completion packages that interact between the 2, it eliminates the very inefficient means of workflow in the case that you do not have this interface created.
On the left, we have our ERP system, and on the right, Antea. Anytime an arrow crosses over the middle dashed line, that is information going between the systems. So let's start in Antea. First step, a planner will create a preventative maintenance schedule. Once this schedule expires on the due date, a work request can be automatically made in the ERP. That request will then be accepted and converted into a work order. That work order could automatically create a draft operation in Antea. So next, a technician will log into Antea, fill in all the blanks, and update this date to, let's say, closed to be approved. The planner could get a notification about this update, check it out, and then close the work order in the ERP. That could automatically change the state to verified in Antea and close the schedule. And now it's done. The next due date will be automatically planned by the frequency set up in the system, or the planner could go into Antea and move it around.
So the same concept can be considered for inspector recommendations, being able to track those recommendations all the way to closure. Very key component here, making sure that the inspector recommendations based on the codes and standards he's inspecting or testing to are addressed and followed through to closure using good engineering practice.
If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to info@Antea.tech or call the number on your screen.
We really appreciate your time today. Join us next month where we can show you again. We'll dig a little deeper into how Antea platform can help your company curb cost, maintain reliability and availability, all while maintaining environmental responsibility. Until then, be safe and have a great day.
Well, that's all we have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and be sure to join in our next webinar. We'll now be opening up for some live questions.